Okay, we are live now.
Okay,
But
I
it's
guess it's
okay. It's okay. We can make it truly interactive. It's not like that. This is any kind of boring session. So, hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back in another amazing session that we are hosting with Ramyashree. Uh, she is from Radix as a data engineer, and today she'll be sharing her valuable insights, knowledge, uh, whatever you want. And yeah, we do have a fun little contest for you, everyone. So we do have this: whosoever comments or interacts through comments or asking questions the most in our comment section. So we'll be choosing a few top people who interacts the most, and we'll be gifting them some things. In last session, we chose a few people and gifted them. What we have gifted them, I'll you know uncover it later on in the session. So the title of the session is Shape a Mini App in 45 Minutes. Vibe coding with AI, PRD to prototype. So in this session, what you'll be going to learn, Ramesh would be covering, but giving you a little bit background about me. I'm Manik. I'm the host for this session, representing Girls Leading Tech, and yeah, I have the experience of hosting 100 plus sessions and countless meetings because I'm equally energetic in virtual world as I'm in real world. So yeah, with a great experience in community and hosting a lot of sessions, I'm really honored to host Ramyashree for today's session. And we Girls Reading Tech are honored to have her sparing her valuable time as she joined us today to be your amazing speaker, where she would be sharing so many insights. So Ramyashree, we would love to start the session with your introduction and anything that you want to share, like how you started and now what are you doing and what you will be covering in the session. Then we can start it. Or if you do have any
okay.
questions for me, you can ask it without hesitation freely.
Okay, honestly, I don't have any questions, so I'll just get straight into the introduction. So, hello everyone, my name is Ramyashree Shetty, and I have joined tech I've been working in tech for past 3 years, and right now my AI journey honestly started in this year itself because like my past job didn't have that much opportunity to work in AI, but right now the place where I'm working we are given opportunities, we are kind of pushed to work with AI and everything. So it's so that is how my interest in AI grew, and that is how I have right now I could say I have shipped few applications, full-fledged applications in AI. So I have a bit confidence in how to build products through AI. So that's from my side and my experience with the AI and the vibe coding stuff like that. And I would also like to thank Manik and the Girls Leading Tech for giving me this opportunity and giving me the space to share whatever I have to say and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's all from my side with the introduction. Also regarding the content of this session. So I know the title says that ship in 45 minutes, but as everyone knows, it's very it is kind of impossible to ship anything in 45 minutes. But the title, or I could say the reason why I've kept this title is because I would help you understand in 45 minutes how to ship. So it's kind of clickbait title, but let's get into it. So let me start presenting my screen.
Yeah, and it's going to be really valuable, everyone. No hard boundaries, just be really attentive, grab a cup of coffee, and just see how the magic happens from PRD to prototype. Because tomorrow day after tomorrow, we have our amazing hackathon. And can anyone confirm is the screen visible? Because it's visible, yeah, we can go. But before starting, I would love to share that if you haven't registered in our hackathon, just Google code at Christmas, you'll find the hackathon on Unstop platform and register. It is a great hackathon with a unique concept that we are hosting for all the girls in tech. So yes, Ramya, we can start.
Okay. So as you can see the title, and as we have already discussed multiple times about the title, so I would just summarize this in a very small sentence that we would be learning exactly how to ship a product in 45 minutes, not a product in 45 minutes. So yeah, just to be clear. So before we start with the entire process, I would just want to touch the vibe coding basic meaning or definition, I would say. The reason is usually people see vibe coding in two different manner. So one is the people who are the non techies, and one are the techies. So for non techies, it is more of a product or a MVP kind of a project, because they don't understand much about coding, so they don't see it in a manner like the way we see. So for the techies, it is more about shipping the product, or using vibe coding to just fast fledge their entire process, and it kind of speedens their entire process. So that is how, like, I think there are two different vision to see it, see into vibe coding. Because any hackathon which we enter, I've met multiple people from multiple domains. Like, no, like, I've seen a lot of product managers and a lot of people from marketing, finance, coming into these vibe coding sessions, and trying to learn how to build stuff like that. So getting into the generic definition of vibe coding, I would say it's a style of building software where you describe what you want in natural language, as in you just type what you want, and there's an LLM that basically lets you generate the most of the code. And while the LLM builds the code, you get the chance to give it feedback, give some reviews, and it iterate through the entire process and decide what you want for the application. So where did this actually start from? So uh, back in 2025, second or third Feb, Andre Karapati actually coined this terminology of vibe coding, where he said basically, it fully gives into the vibes, embraces the exponential, and forgets that the code even exists. So he also said that he accepts all always and doesn't even read what code was actually written by the LLM. And if some AI, if some error or something breaks, he just copy pastes the the basic error, and he just tells to the LLM that, see, this is the error, this is where it occurred, this is what I was expecting, and this is what we get. So that's how he explained it, and now it has become such a big buzzword, and it's everywhere, like everyone is talking about it. So yeah. So for even me, I think this is what shaped the entire coding. So how the internet changed when www World Web came in, back in the past, like in the past decade. I think the vibe coding is something which shifted the internet, or shifted the coding, or shifted the tech a little bit. So yeah, that's what I think. So now we understood what exactly vibe coding means, and but let's get into what exactly shipping mindset means. So how many times has it happened that you started something and then you never were able to finish it? Like, me being having an ADHD, I usually jump upon ideas. Like, I get an idea, I start building, I never deploy or complete it, and I just switch to some other idea. So it has been, I mean, it has happened to all of us a lot of times, and it has like I mean, it happens frequently, honestly. So that is why it's very important to not look into a very, when you start building, you shouldn't be focusing on building a very huge application at start. You can start from very small. That is why building a MVP is basically a minimum viable product. uh, Telling it in a simple term, it is something which shows your idea is not perfect but is working. So that's what MVP is all about. It's not a complete product, but it's about something which works, which you can give it to your user and tell them ki, okay, just use it, tell me how it feels, and then I can work around it. It doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be the cute looking one, or cutesy looking, or clean, or something which is which has a very good UI or something like that. But it has to be working, and where the user can feel the work, the entire process of the uh, project, the product basically. So there are three rules which even I keep in my mind while I build. Is like, it should work three times in a row. Like, if you are in a hackathon, and then if you are, suppose the judge is at your place, and you're gonna, you are going to have your demo session or something like that, you should, before that, you should at least test it three times, like three times in different situation. That, is it working in this manner, is it working in this manner? If something breaks, is it working in this manner? So that's there. And the next thing, while shipping, you should always make sure that at least one core flow, at least one core idea which you had in your product should work end to end properly. What would look good when a judge comes? One good core flow which works completely, or 10 core features which don't work. So it's obvious that the one core is flow is what the judge would actually like, and which would actually appreciate you for. So yeah. Second thing is the backup plan, or the backup plan for everything. If suppose something fails, like suppose maybe your API gets rate limited, or something happens to your API, or some error with your other issues, you should always have a mock data, or a video, or a working video. Small story. When like last April or something, I had participated in this one hackathon where our application was working very much fine before the judge came to our place. But there's something which happened, and then the application wasn't working properly. And what saved was our idea and our implementation for the next round. But again, we did, our points were deducted for not be able to show the demo. So that's one reason, and that's one tip which even the judge gave me, that always have a working demo video at least, so that you can show it to the person while you know uh, present your idea. So I mean, that's one learning which I have learned personally. So that's something which you all should follow. Yeah. Okay. So any questions, like anything you all want to ask, or any doubts or something? I can't see the chat, so I'm not sure. Okay. So the next thing is the ideation part of it. So a small story regarding idea. So you know, can you imagine, like, connecting a person, a normal person, to another normal stranger person who has a car, and he drives you from one place to another place? Who would have thought that back in 10 years? Who would have thought that this could become a product? Or renting your home to some stranger, which come and live for 2 to 3 days, and just pay you for that and then leave. I mean, when you think about this, when you think about them in a very simple idea format, it's kind of weird. Honestly, it is kind of weird when you think like that. But people turned this into a product, and not a product. These are very big companies right now. So I mean, that's how ideas start, is what I think. I usually, when I am in a hackathon or something like that, I overcomplicate the process of ideation, where I tend to overcomplicate the entire process, and I end up with a very messy idea which doesn't have any proper direction. So, so that is how I understood that every idea has to be broken into four pieces. One is the user, who are you targeting? Problem, what are you trying to solve? At least one problem is what you have to solve. At least one problem. You don't need to target like 10, 15 problems at one go. In an MVP, as I said, even one problem makes a good start. And then a small tiny win. I mean, you would have a problem, you would also have a solution for it. So that joins it, co-joins it together. And the last thing is the constraints. So constraints, anything which has to be there, anything which is necessary, or anything your user wants, such constraints you should list, so that you understand what exactly your idea is all about. So also, there's a thing, if you can't explain your idea in 30 seconds, then it is that you don't understand your idea well. So that's one thing you should keep in your mind, that you should be able to explain your idea in 30 seconds, and you should be very thorough with your idea, and that is only how you can wipe code. That's there. And then also another thing which is not entirely related to hackathon, but I don't know how many of you all actually do it, but I do it as a practice. What I do is I have an idea dump for myself. I don't use it specifically, like there's no reason to have it, but I just have it, an idea dump, where any idea which occurs in my mind, I just write it down, just write one line regarding it. If any constraint which I think which should be mentioned, I write that, and I write that why would it be useful for me. So I just dump these ideas into one place. Like I have on my PC, on my laptop I have a note taking app, and also on my phone I have a note taking app. So I just dump those ideas at one place, and I just use those, go through those ideas later. And in such hackathons, it comes to use at the end. So if I am supposed to build some product or something like that, then usually I pick the ideas from my idea dump. So yeah, that's one thing which you all should do. I think that's not negotiable. I don't think so that's negotiable, and everyone should have a practice, have an idea dump where you just keep on putting your ideas. Because let's be honest, you get the most random ideas when you're showering, or when you're driving, or when you're sleeping. I mean, you're not even wondering, and or you're like, oh, I have an idea right now, and you'll forget it. Honestly, an idea is all around you, but if you don't write it down, don't note it down, it just gets lost in your thoughts, and it's not never going to come back. So that's one thing about ideation. Apart from all of this, uh, regarding the hackathon which we have in coming few days, the topic is to be messy, to build something which you always wanted. So I wouldn't focus more on emphasize on this part. But if you were to solve some problem, you could the way I approach to when I am trying to solve some serious problem, or something which is very complicated, I usually refer the YC companies. I look into their projects, I look into what they are trying to build, and I try picking small problems which they are trying to solve and they're not able to solve, and that could become a small product. So that's one hack which I usually do. So yeah. Next thing, I wouldn't emphasize a lot on this, but let's understand the fundamental part of vibe coding. So I usually divide vibe coding into five fundamentals. These are just five small points which you should remember. First thing is thinking. I mean, as I said, you should be very clear with your idea. If you are not, then you won't be able to tell the AI what exactly do you want, and then it'll if you don't know, then the AI is definitely going to create a big chaos in your code. So that's one thing. Second thing is frameworks. Frameworks, see, again, as I said, non-techie and techie. A non-techie wouldn't be able to exactly define what framework he is supposed to use or something like that. But for a techie, you should definitely, if you are good in Python, if you're good in JavaScript, please mention it, so that the AI knows what tech stack to build your project in. Because sometimes you don't do it, and at the in midnight 2 a.m. you're trying to figure out some new framework and you don't understand what's exactly happening. So I usually make sure that I tell it, I know these things and I don't know these tech stack, please help me, I'm a complete beginner in that. So AI understands that, and and AI helps you in such manner. He understands that, and the AI tries to help you in that manner, that if something which you don't know, it explains you before it implements. So that is something I make sure that I clear AI before I start. And the third thing, and a very important thing, is checkpoint, like the version control. The reason, people may underestimate this point, but honestly, when I was building a very big application, which was spanned around 2 to 3 months, version control is exactly what saved me. I'm gonna be honest, because I have a very complex backend, I have a very complex front end, I have a very complex my project setup, my Docker containers, my this, my that, and the infra. It becomes a complete mess. Because as we all know, there's a limited context window for a LLM to chat with and build with. So we need to maintain that context window. So for that, after some point of time, you start getting the new chat, or you start opening the new chat. So at that time the context gets lost. So during that time, what helps you is gets lost, then you can't can't revert back to the older change. Like you can't go back to your older checkpoint. So for that reason, you need to have git. So suppose if your code fails but you had the most stable version, so if your code fails, you can anytime go back to your stable version. So make sure whenever you have a working application, just commit it. Just commit it, just push it, and just chill, and then experiment whatever you want. If it doesn't work, go back to your last commit. So that's what I do. If nothing works, and just I have my stable version with me safe. So yeah. And the fourth point is debugging. I mean, yeah, this is where exactly vibe coding sucks or fails. So is the debugging part. If someone doesn't understand what they are building, honestly, after 5 to 6 days, just forget about the application. You have to just close it, and you have to come start with something else fresh. So that is why debugging is kind of important. And honestly, for me, debugging, uh, one step before debugging is understanding what you're building. That's how I take it. I should know exactly what I'm building, so that in future if something fails, I know exactly how to debug it. Debugging doesn't mean me going and changing the code, but me understanding what exactly was expected and what was returned by the AI. I mean, the return by the code, and how am I supposed to point it to how am I supposed to inform the AI that this is what is going wrong in your code and you need to change this. So that's with the debugging. And the last point is the context. As I said, it is kind of garbage in and garbage out. Like, you're trying to explain it, lot of things, you're not specific, you don't know what do you want. So that is why before you start anything, before you junk your context with all unrelated things, first clear yourself and first make a small plan. What exactly do you want? And only then that pass that into your context window, because context window is expensive, and it eats up your memory and stuff like that. So yeah, you have to be a bit and also defining context window is the chats and the conversations which you have with your LLM models, and the thing which they remember whatever you had the conversation with them, and there is a limit to it. So that's the five basic fundamentals of vibe coding. So that was the five the fundamentals. But let's see what exactly can we use for the hackathon, and what exactly a non-tech or a techie can actually start with. So honestly speaking, when you are building small products and prototypes and something like, you want it quick, fast, you could start with the no code tools like Lovable, Replit, or something like that, which write your prompt, tell it ships. You don't care about the architecture, you don't care about the code, you don't care about, you just need a working prototype. So for hackathons, people usually prefer that. But yeah, I mean, it's a good start to start somewhere. So yeah, sure. And then we have other things like IDE extensions. We have Cursor, we have VS Code, and Copilot as a combination, and Augment. These things all are good when you're trying to build or ship a complete product, and you are trying to actually make it live or make it deploy, or you're going to ship it for users. So at that point, these tools are beneficial. But for hackathon, you can start with Lovable, exploring, because Lovable is pretty simple, and you can definitely start with. And I think uh, Lovable is one of the sponsor or promoters of this hackathon. So sure, you can start with Lovable. Again, this is just a bar chart of how and where exactly each coding tool sits in. So we don't need to get a very we need to don't need to get a very deep dive in this. But as I said, so you can prefer the no code tools, you can start with the basic ones. But you want to, if you want to build you want to shift a very complex product or something like that, then you can definitely start with the one basic combination would be VS Code and a Copilot. In Copilot, you have all the LLM models. Pick Claude Sonnet 4.5, best coding uh, model, maybe like right now, maybe. So yeah, you can pick that, start coding. That's one way to go. So yeah. So putting some more context to the low code and the plan then build context. So just will summarize it in a few lines. Like, prompt as you go simply means that you're a prompt, you start building. As you see the product, you keep making changes. This is possible in Lovable. So you can look at the product, you think this is not right, put a code, change it, make your changes. It is instant, but again, as you keep going, keep expanding, it becomes kind of what do you say, it becomes kind of repetitive, or it becomes a slop at the end, because you don't know what's happening, what's inside the code. You're not aware. Once it starts failing, and then, as I said, you have to shut down. So that what happens when you don't know what's happening in the code. Second thing, the second part is plan then build. So if you are clear with your plan, if you are clear with your PRD, uh, PR, I mean, let's not get into PRD. If you're clear with your plan, and then you pass on the plan to LLM, and you exactly know what has to be done, and what changes need to be done, what exactly do you want. When you start building like that, it kind of becomes easy to understand the code. And if it fails, you can definitely debug around it. You can look what exactly is going around. You can at least explain AI what is happening, what is going wrong. And it also, when you build a planned build, you also know if there are new features which are supposed to be added in future, you can add it easily. So that kind of becomes easy. So that's one way to look at it. Now, like, as we discussed the entire vibe coding information and everything, so now let's get into the planning portion of it, the main portion of the, I mean, the main notion of this entire uh, session. So how exactly, you start with a vibe coding application or a product. So if, be it a hackathon or be it a product, first thing first is you should be very clear with your idea, and you should be clear with your from idea you should be clear with your plan. So a plan in a technical terminology would be a PRD. So PRD, in PRD, you can have it as a very simple PRD. You don't need to have very, all the functional requirement, non-functional. No, you don't need to be very specific about it. But at least you should be aware about 3 to 4 terms in that. One is your target user. Whom exactly are you targeting? What's your problem? What's your, at least your features? Your what are you not building? What are you planning for the future? And what's your plan, and what is the success metric by which you'll measure your success. So if I show you a small PRD example, uh, yeah, that would be this. Did I lose it? Yeah, so that would be this, a small PRD example where you're trying to build one product. This is the project overview, the type of the
Ramya,
project. Yes.
the slide is not visible, the one actually which you are showing. It's the same Canva page which is showing.
Oh,
Maybe you can reshare the entire screen. Yeah,
1 minute.
yeah. And we do have some questions lined up to 6 to 7. So how do you want to take it at the end or right now?
Uh, I mean, before we start PRD, we can take it, like, because PRD is going to be a bit longer. So yeah.
Okay. So yes, we do have a question from Ajay. How do you deal with AI hallucination while vibe coding during a hackathon?
Okay. So yeah. So regarding this question, I mean, this is the actually the further content of the session, but let me address it right now. So with AI hallucinations, what I do personally is maintain a folder where I keep the traces of whatever I did inside that folder. What I mean by that, if suppose I'm building a feature, I divide my plan into my task into one particular task which I'm trying to target. And when I ship the task, I devlog it. I mean, I keep the traces into a folder. So, so it is basically, mapping your entire footprint and saving it somewhere. So as the context window, as I said, it gets refreshed. It's not going to remember anything after a point of time. So when you have these traces at one place, you can anytime tell your AI, go back, look at the trace, understand what I did, understand what you did, and try to remember that and keep make your next decision like that. So this way AI never hallucinates, at least in my case. So it's basically saving the entire memory somewhere. So that's how I mind map it. Like, I've done it for a very huge application, and that's like, it has never hallucinated in my case. So yeah,
Wonderful.
that's how I do it.
Uh, I guess Yashika, your question has been already covered in the previous slide, all the coding, vibe coding tools. So we are moving forward with Sanya question. How vibe coding is quite flexible as compared to others? Maybe hard coding
uh,
approach or like writing code all at once by yourself in different modules using monolithic or microservices, whatever approach.
Okay. So, see, if you are a techie, as I said, if you are a techie, vibe coding is anyways a God's given grace gift for you. So,
Yeah,
anything. So, me being a data engineer, honestly, I don't know how to build web applications. I don't know exactly how to, build that integrate or that complex web application. But now I can. So that's how wonderful as a wonderful as a tool it is. So how flexible, if I can say again, if you are a techie, you cannot, your first step is not to wipe code. I'm sorry, but that's not how you come into tech. So you have to understand the, the basic fundamentals. You have to understand how coding works. You have to understand, as we are growing and we are, the internet is pushing us towards the vibe coding. uh, we kind of forgot that why fundamentals were, meant to be learned in first place. So if your fundamentals are strong, if you know exactly how to ship a website, if you know how it, you don't need to know a very complex framework. Even HTML, CSS is more than sufficient. You'll understand at least what you're trying to do. So that's what I think is important. And vibe coding is not the solution to anything. Like, it should not be a solution. If you think I'll get into tech, I'll vibe code, nah, that's not the solution to it. You need to have a groundwork. You need to have your fundamentals very clear, because I think people who graduated like in our year, like 2022, 21, we never had the leverage to, chat gpt or something like that. So we never grew like that. But I can understand the, when you have something, why would you choose the other thing? So that mindset comes into the you know comes into the mind of the students. So yeah, that's one thing you should avoid it. Yeah.
Wonderfully answered. Moving forward with Soumya's question. First of all, she's complimenting you for amazing structured approach. Uh, Thanks. And next question is, what all the basics to attach as context for a good prototype?
Okay, again, this question is something which I'll be touching forward, but let me summarize it in a very small manner. I think I did mention what, when I was answering the first question. So, what I do is very simple: a plan to a PRD, a PRD to multiple small tasks. A task, if takes more than 10 minutes, then it has to be segregated into another task. So, small task, even in task, I divide it into 3 to 4 components. One could be an infra, one could be a front end, one could be a back end, and everything is segregated into those tasks. I usually start with back end, because again, because that's the, skeleton of your application. I start with the back end. I pick one task. I I'll tell you in honest manner what I do. I pick that one task. I tell the AI, I'm a novice. I don't understand anything. Please explain me what is this task about. So then it starts explaining me, and it understands itself what it exactly has to do. If I think it's going in the wrong manner, I correct it then and there, and then we mutually agree, let's start implementing this. So it implements. I just go through the code. I see, if I think it looks good, then I say, okay, you did a good job. You should, keep complimenting your AI models. It's useful. So yeah, so I complimented for the work which it did. And then the next thing what we together do is review. We review together. If it is a very complex code, then we also test together. We have test cases which we try implement. We see if it is working or not. Once everything is done, the last thing which I do is devlog it. So that's the terminology which I call it in devlog. Devlog is basically whatever we discussed in this task. It gets converted into a text format and gets saved into my repo structure, my folder structure. So it's there. Next time if something fails, I can tell, remember this devlog which you had done, and it exactly remembers that, and it exactly knows what exactly it did at that point of time, and it never hallucinates, and it remembers. So that's how you do it. I mean, you this is a very manual procedure to do it, but yeah, this is the only way I've found how to, maintain the hallucination, the context of the uh, LLM. Yeah.
Wonderful. So we do still have like 4 questions. So maybe we can proceed with the session, then we can take the questions. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, as I said, okay. So the PRD thing, I couldn't show it. 1 minute. I
You
did
can
come.
screen share the entire screen, and then it would be
Yeah.
visible.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
In the
Yeah.
meantime, everyone in the chat section, keep commenting, keep asking your question, or keep interacting, because we would be choosing the most interactive attendee at the end of the session, and would be giving them a little gift and a shout out. Yes, it's visible, Ramya. We can continue.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a very small PRD example. As I said, once you prompt, it's to generate a PRD, it doesn't take a lot of it's not a huge big science which you have to do. All you have to say, go to your chat GPT, tell your idea, tell it to generate a PRD. And for a reference, I'll definitely share you this PRD for a reference, so you can attach that reference as a reference to the chat GPT, and tell it, this is the idea, try copying the entire format structure of this uh, file, and generate a PRD for me. So PRD in a simple terms is just a plan what exactly your AI tool has to do. So over here, first thing is the project overview. That's just the overview about your entire idea. Second thing is the level. You actually need to, sometimes mention your AI that, look, this is going to be very complex and you have to deal it in that way. So that's a good reminder. Sometimes you need to be very humanist, like you have to have that human emotion kind of a relationship with your AI, because honestly I treat them like that. So because they are there 24 constantly with me, so I sometimes try making relationships with them, like yeah, listen, we need to do this, listen, we need to do that. And the tone of the AI sometimes changes, and it tends to give you a lot good better results when you do like that. So yeah, that's one hack. So yeah, you need to basically mention what kind of a level of a project is it. If it's easy and medium, then it'll plan it in that manner. It also helps you, the amount of time which it takes to plan the entire process. So it kind of helps AI to understand if it is a complex, it's going to take more time to understand the entire project. If it is less or it's easy, it takes a lesser time and does it faster for you. So that's one thing. And the type of project, you need to also mention what kind of a project is it. As we can see, this is something related to diabetes. So yeah, if it is a diabetes related project, it definitely falls into a healthcare domain. So yeah, you need to mention what kind of a type of a project is it, so that it's well aware that what kind of which section or which domain exactly this project is going to be used in. So probably it understands or it goes in that direction. So for that, second thing, the skills required, or I could also say the tech stack or the frameworks, or as I emphasized, that portion is where you exactly need to mention what tools and what language or what tech stack the AI is supposed to use. Uh, it's a very good practice to mention this, because when you don't mention, the entire code is going to be a chaos. Like honestly, it's going to be chaos. Even if you don't know any tech stack, one good practice is to go on internet, search which front end tech stack is very famous, or which has a what do you say, a bigger community. Why is reason is the reason is because the more number of the bigger the community, the bigger the content, and the bigger the what do you say, the resources for AI to look into. So that's one reason I'll say, go for always the popular frameworks, go always for the popular language. Because again, if AI can find more resources, more data regarding it, it can solve the problem more easily. So that's one thing. Second thing is the key features. Over here, you can add your functional requirements, non-functional requirements, milestones. You can add it however you want. Here it's in milestone, but it completely depends upon how you want it. So even if you don't want to add, I mean, you are not going to add this. Obviously, it's the ChatGPT or the model would help you design this. But yeah, make sure whatever key features the model has listed is exactly what is in line with your plan. So that's one. I mean, as you wipe code, you have to be patient enough to read, understand what exactly is model writing. Because sometimes when I am wipe coding and I go in an autopilot mode, sometimes I don't read exactly what it's doing, and then I have to go back and actually understand what it has done. So when I get lost, I usually get lost and I get scared if I don't remember what exactly AI I mean what exactly the LLM was doing. So yeah, I mean, you should be feared, you should be scared when you don't know what it is doing, and then it's not going to work at the end. So yeah, be a little scared. So with that fear, please keep reading what exactly it's doing, keep checking what exactly the code which it has written. So make sure you keep looking into it. So yeah, the second thing is, this is not necessary honestly, because this was for specifically to ship to a user. So the person has mentioned about the user. You don't exactly have to mention this every time, but again, PRD is what do you say, it can change. It doesn't have any one defined way to write. It has many ways to write. I can show you some other good PRDs as well later in this talk. But yeah, so this much for the PRD part. Mm, mm, where did I get lost? Ah, sorry, 1 minute. Yeah.
Yeah, we found it.
Yeah. So many tabs. Okay. So yeah. So I hope the PRD portion is pretty clear. The second thing, as I said when I was explaining the answers or when I was answering the questions, the second thing after the PRD is I segregate my PRD into small tasks. So honestly, I do a lot more than this. I actually design my system architecture. I design my requirements. I go very deep when I'm building a very big application, but let's not get into it for the hackathon purpose. I'll keep it very simple. What I do after PRD is segregate my plan into small tasks. So even in task, make sure see, you can definitely do like 10 tasks and just leave it, but make sure if you could segregate your back end front end, if it has a back end and a front end, it's more cleaner, so you can do that. So each task has a very it has a format to it. So usually what you could do with your task is one could have a very one core flow, and one could have your AI, one could have your UI ka features and everything. So something like that, you have to segregate them into small tasks. So for an example, let me just show it right now itself. So yeah, so this was the PRD, the small demo application which was building for the session purposes. So this is how I built the PRD of it. Just gave a small prompt to ChatGPT and got the PRD from there and just brought it over here and dumped it. Obviously, I checked whatever it is written is exactly what I want, and then if it was, then I brought it here. Again, there's a project overview, there's a level, there's a type of project, the skills mentioned, the key features, the technical constraints, and the code quality standards. You can definitely mention this. The
Ramya,
deliverables,
could you
the folders.
zoom a little so that it would be easily readable by the attendees? Yeah, a little bit zoom would work.
One minute.
Yeah, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, the deliverables, the folder structure, how sometimes even you can mention the folder structure and it'll exactly do what you wanted. This is for the people who exactly know what they want, but for the people who don't want, always tell it to follow the best standards. Make sure in the prompt, whenever you are doing something like that, you have a very good use this keyword. Make sure to use the industry or the best market standards or something like that, which is used by other people, so it makes sure that whatever it is doing is not it's not hallucinating or making something of its like something which it thinks is right or something like that. So just make sure you mention that. So that's for folder structure. Again, the success criteria, this is something which is defined by the AI, not by you, but again, make sure whatever you think is a success criteria is in here. Future enhancement, the reason why you write this is because something if was in your scope and you couldn't complete it in time, so just pick it from there, bring it down here, so that if you have some time left with you, you can definitely pick the one in priority and start building. This is for hackathon purpose. So this is very useful when you work on hackathons. Like you usually have 10 to 15 features in your mind, but pick the 5 best, put 10 in the future enhancement, start picking one by one when you have some time left. So that's how you do it in hackathons. And this is just a small thing. Okay, yeah. So this is the PRD. Now I picked this PRD and I created tasks. So let me 1 minute. So I created task out of it. The task structure is something like this. Let me just go into one simple task. I think this is good. Okay. So we'll have a task structure. We'll have a time. This is because the task got completed, so it marked it. So, but before the task was completed, if I have some incomplete task, 1 minute. It's okay. I mean, I think we can see the same thing. I don't have incomplete task, but okay. So, a description regarding what exactly is the task about, the requirements in that task, the file which got created in that task, the implementation summary, whatever the LLM did, the implementation summary, the devlog, as I said, the devlog, and the validation which it did. Everything gets as a information committed over here, so it exactly remembers what it did. Even if it doesn't, you can make it remember. So that's how I started countering the hallucination part of it, because it doesn't remember it. One day you code, next day it doesn't know what it is doing. So you have to make it remember, and this is how exactly you do it. So let me go into the devlog of this devlog. 1 minute. So this is where I exactly keep my all the files. um, I think I didn't devlog that first thing, but yeah, this is how the devlog looks. Everything related to a task: date, time, task, time taken, the objective, changes made in whatever files it has made changes, what exactly was implemented, where exactly it was implemented, everything, like literally everything is in this. The code error checking, whatever it performed, the comments which it added, the validations which it did, the next steps, whatever it was planning, everything gets logged into the devlog. So there's no chance that it acts as if it has not done it. So you'll be like, you did it. So this is what you have logged. So then basically it clicks and like, yeah, I did this. So that's how the entire conversation is with that AI thing. So yeah, so that's for the PRD task. Okay. Yeah, that's for the PRD and the tasks. So now to just summarize whatever I've answered again and again, like whatever I was telling in a very clean format. You all over here can see the exact steps which I take to build or uh, start tackling with a problem statement. Is start with a clean prompt and then move it forward to the PRD. Split the PRD into backend and frontend, and then or you can split it and or combine it together. And the second thing is segregate them into small steps, develop it, and then the final update, and then deploy. So if I get a more in detail into these things, PRD and everything I've explained already. The dev loop is something which I have explained. I'll explain it again. So this has to be repeated for every task. First, uh, understand the task, uh, plan it with the AI, understand it. If you have some changes, explain it, and then review the plan together. If you think it's good going, start implementing it. Once the implementation is done, check the code. After checking the code, tell it to come up with some test cases. Make it go through the test cases. Review it again. Once everything is done, just devlog it. That's one thing. Also, a plus point to this would be, if it's a very stable version, get committed. Then yeah, just go ahead and get committed, because that has saved me a lot of times, and it's very important to get commit at the at that particular moment when it's stable. So the next would be, this is something which definitely comes when you are working in a hackathon, but not when you are actually shipping. So final update deploy is a very later step, but in hackathons it's a very early step. So final update would be clearing up everything, whatever the nonsense codes and the files which has created. Clean up everything. Keep a clean documentation, a README, where even AI understands what it has done, and then then just go ahead and deploy it wherever you feel like and wherever you think it can be deployed. So that's there. Um, yeah, some golden rules which I've written: make minimal changes that satisfy acceptance. Yeah, that is honestly, the term minimal changes is basically explaining more about the task. So task, the reason why we make it small is because AI does small things very nicely and very easily. When you give it a very big or a complex task, that is when it starts acting weird, and it starts like, what am I doing, is this right? And you tell it one thing, it's doing another thing, and this loops continues. So the one thing which I've learned is, assign small tasks to it, and it'll do it exactly how you want it. So you don't need to worry when you are assigning it a very small task. So yeah, it and that's all for the live demo build. And okay, so let me just I know we have very less time remaining, so let me just get into few apps, like some app which I built actually in 45 minutes, an hour. I can show it over here, but I can show you a small demo how it looks and how I did it. So yeah, before I okay, so I did it in two methods. One was the lovable, the no code method, and one was the uh, no code, low code. And no, it's not the low code, it's a coding, basically a proper coding method where you exactly plan and you develop. So yeah, I'll get into both of them. So yeah, so this is the lovable interface. If I am sure a lot of y'all would be aware about this. So this is a very beginner friendly, very easy to start, very easy to build small products, prototypes, POCs. It's a very good tool, and it also has a very good UI. Like the way the UI design which it builds, it's amazing. So yeah, so as you can see, I started with a small, very small prompt. Okay, the initial it did a when you give such a small prompt, uh, and I also, okay, 1 minute, I'll just show you all something before that. Mhm. Yeah, so you can see the stat mode. Make sure when you start developing, you enable the stat mode. What exactly the stat mode does is it discusses the plan before you start the implementation. Because when I started with this, it ended up asking me these questions: what visual style do you want for the app? I selected the retro nostalgic thing. What themes should the user be able to choose from? Mood based. So these questions were asked by the Lovable itself, not by me. It was an answer by me. I just answered it. So it gets a, what do you say, it gets a fair idea how exactly and what exactly does the user want. So yeah, and then we discussed it, and we went over the plan. It showed me the plan again and again. It said me review it, review it, review it. So we reviewed it, and I said looks good, and then it started building. And then it turns off this chat thingy, and it goes into the implementation mode, and then it starts building this thing. So yeah, and then it start this entire thing, it built it in a one go. I just said it some changes, like some small changes which I think were necessary for the application, and it came up with this whole thing in 15-20 minutes. That's all it takes to actually come up with a idea. So this, I'll just give a small brief about what this idea was. This is just a main character soundtrack generator, where you set the scene like you are driving alone in the night or midtime, and you choose your mood: nostalgic, empowered, how are you feeling exactly. And it uh like how right now, how are we are kind of stressed. Let's say we are kind of stressed, and we need something which empowers us. So it we generate a soundtrack, and this exactly gives you the Spotify links to your soundtrack. And yeah, Believer, yeah, sure. We can play Believer, and we can freshen up our mood or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it gave Chak De India. Okay, sure. Apna time aega. Cool. It understands what exactly we are feeling right now, and what mood do we want to be in right now. So yeah, with Lovable, building this entire thing was easier for me. But now let's get into the VS Code, because that wasn't easy, and it took me a lot of time to start with. So let me reduce the size a bit. Okay. Let's first look into the structure of the whole folder. It's very simple. I haven't complicated it at all. You'll find this GitHub link in my repo as well. I'll share you this link as well, so that you all can just copy paste and start building. So yeah, uh, let's start with the docs part, because before I started the entire repo, I directly went into my docs and I started with this. So in my docs, you can see there are four elements. One is the PRD, as we have already discussed. PRD is something important. So I put the main PRD, and I kept my reference PRD here. Just make sure you name it as ref, so that it understands that's a reference, and it doesn't start building on that idea. So that's for PRD. Second is the devlogs. Third is the task. And the fourth thing is a UI ref. I know I didn't mention much about UI, because UI is another universe and all in all with the AI thing. Because even I am not that good with the UI when it comes to explaining the UI. I have ways to tackle that problem, but honestly I can't tell it now exactly the entire process which I do usually. But I can give you small ideas what you can do. So I just go into Pinterest, just copy paste whatever is your inspo, the normal girly hack. Just copy paste your inspos and bring it here. And one tip would be Gemini understands UI better than Claude, at least in my case. Like for me, Gemini, does it better. So yeah, if you are doing UI, you can definitely prefer Gemini over Claude. That's one thing. So that's under the docs. That's what exactly about the whole the footprint of your entire development sits in the docs. So that's how I maintain my context window. That's how I make my AI not to hallucinate. So this is the entire hack, or this is the entire folder which helps me preserve my entire project. And next is this in github thing. There are many names to this. In Claude you have dot Claude or something like that. In Cursor you have dot Cursor scale, something like that. And there are many ways to it. Again, the fundamentals is same. There are a set of instruction which your LLM follows. That's all. Nothing complicated. You have to have a file. Tell it what exactly and how exactly it has to behave. It is like a rule set. It has to follow. I mean, don't get into a very lot of nitty gritty in this when you're working in high hackathons and all, but definitely you should care about it, because suppose there are one basic rule. If you're using API in your project, make sure to rate limit it, because you don't know who starts abusing it. And because I've seen a lot of posts, I have seen people getting $26,000 ka bill, uh, because they didn't rate limit their API. So yeah, that's one tip. So such kind of rules is what exactly you have to define in this portion. So you have instructions, you have skills. I'll pass this on, so you can definitely use this reuse in your code. So yeah, so this is a set of instructions. Whatever I explained, I also explained to my co-pilot that this is how I build. Please help me build. So that's the thing. And then my code, normal code. So these are my just code files. That's all. And this is just a README. Yeah. So that's the entire folder structure. And what exactly did this build? 1 minute. It's not here. Yeah, this is what it built. The EY is not up to the mark. I didn't like it, honestly, because it's kind of shabby, but yeah, the functionalities work. It's pretty smooth, and it happens, like it works fine. Let's have some fun music on a sunny day, and let's see what it generates. Yeah, Dancing Queen, Sunshine, Mr. Blue. Yeah, as it was. Okay, sure. So yeah, and it actually goes into the Spotify, and it is redirectable, and you can play the song. So yeah, that's there. So that's the difference between these two. Now you can definitely, this is like a small demo for y'all as well, to choose what exactly do you all want to start with. VS Code is definitely good for VS Code and Copilot combination is definitely good for very huge applications. But for smaller application, if you are just starting out, or you don't know much about tech, and you don't know much about coding, Lovable is the way to go, guys. Yeah. So yeah, it has a better UI, and I like it more in the UI aspect, at least. But I don't code my products in Lovable. I do it in VS Code and Copilot combination. Yeah, that's what I follow. But yeah, so that's for the demo build. And the last, I think this is the last slide which we have, the hackathon tips. So as I said, one feature rule: one thing is perfect beats 10 broken things. The magic behind the curtain is mock API output if needed. So if something, you should be always ready. If something breaks, you have a mock AI output, also the video, working video. Second thing, rules and the documentation, which exactly what I follow in my case. I define rules, I document everything. This is how any big application can be built without even, without losing the hold of it. Like these two give you the grip to hold the entire application. And the also a very small tip actually, which helped me win my first hackathon, was having this format, the small format, which is down there. You need to have a story. The judges pretty much like the story kind of thing. Like, you have a problem, this is your story, this is what you build, this is the impact, and this is, and it should be attractive, and you should be very good enough to should be good enough to explain exactly what your problem was. And this works, guys. This works. If your execution and your idea was good, the story format kind of thing works. So yeah, so that's there. And I think that's all from my side. Yeah, if any questions, we can start with that. Yeah, I know we don't have much time, but yeah, we can quickly take up those questions.
Okay, wonderful. That's really amazing, insightful session, Ramyashree, and we do have got a lot of, appreciations from Yashika. Got to learn so many things. Shivangi issuing the second recommendation. Okay. Sanya
Okay.
is saying such amazing things that I learned for vibe coding. Soumya is saying so many learnings, and Shivangi is saying quite fascinating. Devlog is definitely something I will adopt from this session. Nice. So now moving to the questions from Soumya. Do you row code in VS Code?
Uh, um, it kind of depends. So when I'm doing POCs, usually I raw code. I start to, like before building any big project. This is not related to hackathon, honestly. This is related to when I ship bigger products. So when I do that, the raw coding is usually done on POCs. Once POC is done, once I know all my core features are working, then I don't. So yeah.
Wonderful. And next question is from Smriti. What do you do when you run out of tokens or when your prompt isn't?
I know that's a very big problem. But what I could say in this case is there's a smart way to preserve your tokens and your this thing. So if you go to your VS Code, where's my chat? You see there are so many models, available. There are many models which cost literally nothing. So when you document, when you do test cases, when you write all the things which are not that complex, start using 0x models. But when you are actually doing coding or reviewing something like that, then use the 1x models. That's one tip which I can give. Answering the question exactly, um, anti-gravity is something which has come recently into the market, honestly, but anti-gravity does provide you a lot of flexibility to use the free, I think it's weekly basis, if I'm not wrong. Anti-gravity is weekly basis. Copilot is monthly, but anti-gravity has a lot of tokens. You can definitely use anti-gravity if you had chat gpt in your case. As I said, a lot of things you can do it in some other place, copy paste from there, dump it over here. Like what I do, prompting, planning, everything I do on chat gpt, because wahan pe mera token window is it doesn't get disturbed. I bring my entire plan ekdam like very clean, and I get it into my VS Code, and then I start coding. So that's how one way to preserve. And if something there's something which you want to do in planning, if you think this thing is not good, take a screenshot of your web application, tell it to chat gpt, see, look, this is my UI, it is very bad, it's not good, give me the prompt or give me more context how to make it better. It gives you that, copy paste it, so you have less conversations with your inline id, the model. So yeah, that's few tips which I could give, but honestly I can't answer this question properly. Yeah.
No, that's amazing that you have answered. Next question is from Soumya. Do you manually make the devlog?
No, I don't manually make the devlog. As I said, I'll be sharing few resources with you all. So usme se, let me, yeah. So you see this prompt which is there. I usually use this prompt when I start any task. So it has few rules written into it, and it remembers exactly, and it does exactly this. It follows like entire task. One task gets completed, I tell this again to it so that it stays in line with these rules. I'll share this so that you don't need to create the devlog. It'll understand how to exactly create the devlog. When you tell the term devlog, it knows what it is. So yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now we have insight from Spruti. It's not a question, just an insight. How vibe coding is helpful to her in improving speed and accuracy. That's amazing, Spruti. I hope that you got to learn a lot from this session. Okay, would you please share this PRD you showed in VS Code? Yes, that would be shared if you are a part of the hackathon. Yes, and this session would be uploaded on YouTube. In the description, I'll add all the resources and a link from where you can access. Now finding the other question, just give me a second. Yeah, we have two queries from Ajay. So these are his queries.
How do you validate AI generated code quickly without breaking momentum during a hackathon? How do you prevent over engineering when AI keeps suggesting best practices under time pressure? Okay, so as I said, in when it there are two different ways. When you do it in hackathon, it's very different. When you ship in when you ship a actual product, it's very different. When you ship an actual product, you look for all the best practices, you look for all the perfection, the review, the continuous testing, debugging, everything. But when it's hackathon, as I said, it has to be working, not perfect. So it has to be working, that's all. You have to make sure that it's working. It doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be clean. You have to just make sure whatever code it has written, it has that's working on your end, and it is following the set of rules. So also yeah, the validating part, it can be hectic when you're doing it alone, but if you are usually in most of the hackathons, you are in a team. If you are coding in a very solo hackathon or something where you're alone, the end output result which is expected from you is not that big. So the results changes according to the number of people or number of if it's a 4 hour, they wouldn't expect you to build a very fancy application. And if you have built a fancy application, then I'm sorry, you have not built it in 4 hours. So that's there. So uh, so that's one thing. That's how I look into it. If you have gotten a day exactly to build it, so if you have a team of 4, then you can definitely segregate among each other and keep checking the code. And hackathon, even I would tend to skim through the code, not exactly look into it. That would what I would do hackathon, but when I'm shipping, I go through the entire code. Yeah, because I need to add further features, but in hackathon I may not add further features as we proceed. Okay.
Wonderful. And the next question is from Soumya. Yeah. So this is
Hmm.
what she's asking.
When you say traces, could you be a little more specific? Like, is it chat prompts, etc.? Traces. Okay. So you mean the footprint which I was mentioning. Uh, the Yeah, exactly. It's about the chat prompts which I'm mentioning. Whatever chat window, whatever you have the conversation with your LLM, that's the exactly the footprint. And footprint involves honestly like three things. One is the conversation which you had. Second, the changes which it made, and the folder files and the folder structure which were getting added at that moment. So all these three things together become the traces, and that's exactly what you saw in the devlog. The thing, the code, whatever changes which I did, the basic implement. Obviously, the chat cannot be copied over there, but it has a implementation summary which gets summarized there, and it gets saved. Yeah.
Wonderful. Next question is from Yashika. Could you please give an idea what AI hallucination is?
Okay, AI hallucination. Okay, now this idea. Okay, suppose you're building a to-do list, a very simple to-do list, and you start building it, and once you built it, like it's working properly, you can. It has a chat window where you can add your to-do list. You can take it, and it vanishes from there. Okay, now you tell that with this to-do list, let me add a reminder, a clock, a calendar to it. Okay, you start mentioning all these three things, and then it starts building something else, like a calendar and a clock, which is not related to do, and it is adding it over there. And then there is this certain what do you say, the reminder, something else which is happening, something. Basically, simple AI hallucination is something which you wanted but it's not happening, and your AI is not listening to you. So it happens sometimes that you're telling it, I want the calendar to be configured with my to do, but it's making an independent calendar and just showing there ki, oh, this is the calendar, this is the to do. It has no correlation, and you kept telling that no, I want my to do and my calendar to work together. Like, one to do, the date which I've mentioned, my to do should be specified over here, but it is not showing. And the number of times you tell to the AI and it's not listening to you, that's exactly the hallucination starts. So that's exactly where it has forgotten what to do exactly about the product. So this happens when you don't plan. So yeah, so if you build the to do and then you add it niche say, so you have not planned it exactly what you do, and hallucination starts. But if you had planned ki calendar lana hai, task lana hai, everything and all, uh, it wouldn't have done that. So yeah.
Wonderful. Next question is from Ajay. Vibe coding with AI boosts speed in hackathons, but hallucination can be risky. How do you manage accuracy and trust when time is extremely limited?
um, how do you manage, uh like, again, so my take for hackathons is like, I don't look into the best practice or the best written code, or it's like very clean. I mean, no one looks into your the code which you have written. There are only three things which are looked into it in my practice in the hackathons. And honestly, I have suffered a lot because of that, because I overestimate, I think a lot. Oh, I should have done this perfectly, I should have done this perfectly, and I don't focus on these three main things. One is your idea, your idea representation, what exactly is your core idea. Because I remember the Google hackathon which I attended, people got 50,000 just for their idea, not for the execution, just for the idea. 50,000. If I had a very good idea, then I would have got paid 50,000 for that. But yeah, so that's the first thing. Second thing, your execution, the way you're executed. No one looks into your code. Like I know people who have just created wireframes and they have displayed it in PPT and won hackathons. So no one looks into your code. Just your idea, the execution is what exact. How are you trying to approach the problem is what matters. And the last thing is your presentation. So how it's presentation as in pitch. How well are you good at pitching? How well are you good at explaining the story? So honestly, these things matter in hackathon. And hallucination, accuracy, and all. Honestly, it doesn't. In like I have participated in more than 5 to 6 hackathons in this year itself. None of the places, no one bothered to even ask me how is your code. Have you practiced? Have you followed all the best practices? The oops, this and that? No, they don't ask.
Wonderfully answered, Rama. Next question is again from Ajay. Indeed, the most curious personality here in the attendee section. Have you seen cases where vibe coding led to hidden bugs that only surfaced post hackathons?
Honestly, hackathons, in case of hackathons, it hasn't happened a lot to me. But when I was actually building my actual product, it has happened. It was very weird that I had this LLM agent, summarizing few things for me and doing some test and analysis for me. And in my code, because I was using 4.0 mini first, and then I shifted into 4.1 mini. I didn't see that my 4.1 mini is hard coded somewhere, and 4.0 mini is something. And there is also in in while I was developing, I also used ChatGPT 5. All of them are getting used in a very different places, and some no rate limiting, nothing. One analysis is done by 5, another analysis in my env it is 4.0 mini, but in my code it is hard coded as 5. And the rate which is getting calculated, it is 4.0 mini, and then my code is consuming the 5 mini car tokens. So it has happened. So it has happened that these hidden bugs, when you tell AI use this, it forgets to change it from all the places. And then this happens. This is one thing which I can remember which happened, because it impacted me significantly in my case. Yeah.
Nice. We do have one interesting question. Can you give an example of prompt which is given to an AI for making any product like a जादुई चिराग दे दिया जाए जिससे हम कुछ भी बना सकते हैं, anything like that?
I mean, like, how should I say? Honestly, anyone who starts building a product, the prompt doesn't matter. I'm gonna say it. It doesn't matter. People, I write in most horrible English. My requirement is in the most horrible English is what I don't even follow grammatical. My grammar is everywhere. I just, the moment I get an idea, I start dumping everything. Just remember, LLM is smart enough to exactly understand what you are trying to say. So there's no perfect prompt. Just make sure you dump the entire idea into your chat window. Make sure what it understood is correct. If you have done this, that is your perfect prompt. You don't need to worry. There's no format to it. Yes, you can find a well structured formats, but again, there's no correct answer to this question is what I'll say. Just go ahead, just start dumping all your ideas. Yeah, it understands.
Wonderful. With this, we have covered all the questions, and as we are closing the session, we would love to show all the appreciation that we had from our attendee. Shishika got it. Thank you so much. Ajay Singh, glad to hear from you after a year almost. Ramya, thank you for answering my queries. Keep shining, keep growing, and keep inspiring. Okay. Soumya is saying, thank you so much. Got clarity over a lot of things, and thanks for being an amazing host, Manik. Thank you so much, Soumya, for joining us. Sunidhi is saying, this was so amazing. Thanks for the session. Richard is saying, great session. Mohammed is saying, great session and highly informative. Yashika is saying, amazing session, so informative and so well structured. Okay, Yashika is again saying, got to learn a lot of things and so many learnings, such amazing things that I learned for vibe coding. And yeah, and one more thing, devlog is definitely something that Shivangi is going to adopt as a key learning from this
Yeah.
session. And Sanya is saying thank you for answering my questions. So thank you so much everyone for joining. If you still have any more questions, please do ask in the comment section, tagging Ramyashree, or maybe you can connect with her on LinkedIn, because as we are still exceeding the time limit. So that's it. But still, we have further sessions lined up. You can ask your questions over there itself. We have some amazing speakers joining us too. Thank you so much, Ramya, for sparing your valuable time and for coming to this session and having such an amazing session. Thank you so much. And with
Yeah,
this,
thank you.
in the starting of the session, I've answered that we'll be having a small contest. The winner of this small activity is Ajay. Ajay has asked more than 12 questions. Or maybe comments including questions. So thank you so much, Ajay. We would be love to gift all the top four people who have engaged most of the time in the session 1 month Canva premium subscription. If you want to use it, you can. It can do a lot of things, especially in hackathons or day-to-day life, making professional PPTs, generating images, because in Canva premium we do have AI features. It can do a lot of stuff. But if you don't want to use it, you can gift it to someone. You can do so as well. So Ajay, Shivangi, Jessica, and Soumya, congratulations. You can share your email and we'll send you the access over there too. And thank you so much, Ramyashree, for joining. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. See you, everyone, in the next session tomorrow, 11 a.m. in the morning.